Hey friends, it's Dr. Sherri, and welcome to the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Education Edition. Go ahead and grab your morning coffee, tea, or whatever gets you going, and join me for a real look at what's happening in education across the nation. The good stories that give us hope, the bad ones that make us sigh, and yes, the ugly truths we've got to face if we ever want things to change. Let's talk about what's really going on in our schools and why it all matters. All right, let's go ahead and start today with something hopeful, as we usually do. Today's something is something that reminds us that when schools pour directly into kids, the results are actually amazing, and it shifts not only the students, but in fact, an entire community. Today, we're going to head to Minnesota, where one district has been quietly fighting a battle every school in America is facing: chronic absenteeism. Now, absenteeism is not just a number, it's a signal, because it means students have stopped coming. Something deeper is happening, whether it's academically, emotionally, or socially, something is causing them to not show up. So this district did something simple but powerful. They built a care model around relationships. It's not a fancy program. It's not a new shiny curriculum. It is just people who care showing up for the kids. In this district, they have added in home visits, daily check-ins with trusted adults, personalized attendance plans, and morning greeters who know every child by name. Maybe most interestingly is there is a someone always notices if you're gone system. And do you know what has happened in this district where they have added in this care model? Absenteeism has dropped by almost 20%. Teachers are reporting that kids seem to be more regulated, more willing, and more connected. Yes, please, that's what we're looking for. Parents are saying that they feel more like a partner in this instead of a problem. Students are saying things like, I feel noticed. And friends, that right there, that is education. Schools don't improve because someone is buying a flashy reading program, or they don't improve because we just say, hey, do better. They improve because adults decide to show up, because adults decide kids deserve to be belonging, to feel like they're wanted in that setting. This story right here is just an easy reminder of ETM and ETM method, the learn, trust, thrive. Because when students feel seen, they're willing to show up. And when they show up, they actually learn. And when they learn and actually truly learn and get the understanding and have that taste and that hunger that we all had as kids, they thrive. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears. Take a deep breath for this one because it is a doozy, folks. Chicago Public Schools is dealing with a firestorm right now. I seen this on social media and I just couldn't believe that it was actually happening. CPS, the Chicago Public Schools, had their watchdog come out recently. I'm not exactly 100% on the date that this was released, but the OGI released a very blunt, very detailed report on staff travel spending. And it wasn't small and it wasn't subtle, and there wasn't just a few questionable receipts. It totaled, it being their questionable spending, totaled $23.6 million over the last 6 years. Do you want to know what some of that was for? Well, some of it, seemed a bit excessive, but nothing that really raised any eyebrows. There was 5-star hotels, there was trips for PD to Vegas and Hawaii, a couple over international destinations. Nothing too crazy there, right? Like nothing that's going to raise eyebrows for many. But here's where it gets crazy. Some of these PD trips that were paid for included things like hot air balloon rides, camel tours, safaris, and other various bonding experiences that the watchdog were politely describing as excessive, exorbitant, or unsupported. 1 year alone, the CPS spent $7.7 million on overnight travel. Remember, CPS is Chicago Public Schools education. Now, let's not throw shade, but remember, this same district has come out saying that there is a $734 million deficit. They face significant academic gaps, and they have high absenteeism in not only their students, but also their teachers. We're not questioning here in this bad episode about PD and if it matters, because we all know that professional development matters. It's how we expand, it's how we grow, it's how we improve our instruction. But in that very same sense, PD should improve instruction. It should strengthen the supports that teachers and administrators can provide to students. It should elevate student achievement, but most importantly, it should connect back to the classrooms. When the trips look more like resort vacations, and granted, if anybody deserves a resort vacation, it's somebody in education. But when trips on the school dime look more like resort vacations, taxpayers get frustrated. And honestly, teachers do too. Because nothing stings quite like hearing, I can't afford that pencil or those crayons. That's going to have to come out of your wallet. Or we can't fix that wobbly chair or that broken desk. But I'm going to jet off to Paris for an international conference. Those things don't line up. An administrator or an educator, anyone going to a conference is not more important than a student having the academic tools that they need to be successful. And before we assume that it's just Chicago, because it'd be easy to blow it off as it's just Chicago, right? It's not. It's everywhere. There's a question here that's even bigger than the $23.6 million that they spent on travel. And that question is, what does accountability look like in districts across the country? How do we monitor spending? What does your budget look like? I know in our local paper, we have them listed out on what's being paid. So if you want to look at it, you can. CPS has now frozen nearly all non-essential travel. They're not going anywhere. And they've created a travel review committee, maybe too little, too late. And most importantly, they've committed to stricter oversight going forward. That's exactly what taxpayers deserve and is what educators need. But who's holding them to it? This is a reminder to all of us that the best systems are not the ones that have the most money. They are the ones that use it wisely, transparently, and in a way that kids can actually feel. All right. Now that we've talked about wasteful spending, are you ready for the ugly? All right, today's ugly gets about as close to home as we can get. Recently, an elementary school here in South Dakota had to go into lockdown after a student brought a weapon to school. A weapon in an elementary building. Now, thankfully, and I want to emphasize this loudly, no one was harmed. Teachers acted fast, staff followed the protocol exactly, police responded immediately. But here's the part that we can't ignore. Kids are carrying things they shouldn't, metaphorically and physically. And more often than anyone wants to admit, it's happening at a younger and younger age. And we're not comfortable acknowledging it. And every time it happens, even in this case, when it ends where it ends safely, It leaves a mark. Teachers walk a little bit more on edge. Parents hug a little tighter at drop off, and students sense the tension, even if we try to hide it. These lockdowns are not drills anymore. They are lived experiences. This isn't about politics. It's about children being children with access to things they don't understand, and the enormous weight the teachers are carrying when they're trying to protect 20 to 25 kids at a time while also teaching them. This incident ended safely because a student spoke up, a teacher trusted their instinct, the system moved quickly where it needed to, and that's good. But the ugly is that this is happening more often. And each time that it does, it takes away a part of the innocence that schools are supposed to preserve within our children. If there is one thing that all three of these stories share, it is this. Schools rise when people show up for kids. Schools fail when systems don't. In Minnesota, kids showed up because adults showed up first. In Chicago, money didn't show up where kids needed it most because the system failed. And in South Dakota, the system had one job. And thankfully, the right people acted in time. Education isn't complicated. It is human, it is relational, and it is fragile. Every story is a reminder that when we invest in connection, kids win. And when we invest in adults without accountability, kids lose. And when safety breaks down, the whole community feels it. All right, that's today's GBU. Check out the show notes on my website, educationthatmatters.net. Make sure you have liked and subscribed. I have a very special edition, a full 1 hour GBU coming up for you this weekend, where we talk about one of the biggest safety violations in educational recent history involving a teacher and an elementary student. And I can't wait to share that story with you and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Have a wonderful day. That's our chat for today, friends. If something you heard made you think, smile, or maybe even shake your head a little, share this episode with someone who cares about kids in classrooms. You can find full show notes, source links, and ways to connect at educationthatmatters.net. And if you've got a story to share, something good, bad, or maybe a little ugly from your own school or community, I'd love to hear it. Send it to me at sherri.rochel@outlook.com, and it just might be featured in an upcoming episode. I'm Dr. Sherri, and this has been The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Education Edition. Until next time, keep learning, keep trusting, and keep thriving.